It's time for the SP and Bushy Show. Here's your hosts, SP and Bushy.
What's up, everybody, and welcome to the SP and Bushy Show. It's been a busy week of sports. At Bushy, how you feeling?
I'm feeling really well, man. It's just a crazy week in sports. I mean, it's just baseball's kind of we just had the trade deadline happening. And football's training camp starting right now. Just reading tweets about the Broncos quarterback battle that's going on, and it's just crazy. I mean, it's just football's kind of back, I guess, in a way, and just really kind of think about it. I mean, college football is literally like probably a month away too. So it's just, man, like we're starting to hit football. Baseball's in full swing as well. It's
There's
crazy.
There's also an Olympics going on.
We actually have an Olympics too. Olympics in like in an odd year, which is weird, I guess it feels kind of odd.
There's an Olympics going on, and also the Seattle Kraken making some moves.
Right, yeah, the Seattle Kraken. We had NHL free agency. We had the NBA draft.
Yeah.
It was just a really crazy sports week, really. I mean, there was a lot to kind of take in.
I know. We might have to actually talk about sports instead of ripping on Space Jam 2 this week.
But I have to admit that was a fun episode. I enjoyed it immensely. That was a great episode. I enjoyed ripping that show ripping that movie to threads.
It was terrible. You saw Jungle Cruise. How do you think that was?
I actually really liked it. I saw Jungle Cruise last night. It's actually a nice little action movie. There's a lot of violence, especially for like a Disney movie. But I put this in comparison. If you liked the first 3 Pirates of the Caribbean movie, then you'll definitely like this one. You'll definitely like Jungle Cruise.
I think I stopped watching them after the first 3 Pirates of the Caribbean movies.
Exactly, yeah. So it feels everything kind of in vain with that. And yeah, I mean, it was great. I like the on-screen chemistry between The Rock and Emily Blunt. That was a really good thing. And yeah, it was just overall just a really good movie. I enjoyed it.
Nice. We went to the theater this week and saw The Forever Purge.
The Forever Purge. Okay.
Yeah.
Is this like the 6th or 8th movie that had to deal with the Purge movies?
I think it's the fifth. But either way.
Okay.
Either way, it's what you expect, but once again, it's very topical. It feels like, especially with what's going on in the country now. So,
was there did they actually have like a purge day, or was it just like?
Well, they had a purge day, and then everyone still kept purging after the purge ended. So
the purge ended. They were sick and tired of the
purge.
Was
the Forever Purge. No, they were sick and tired of having to stop purging, so they kept purging.
The criminals have taken over the purge.
Yeah, pretty much. So, like at that point,
yeah, but it was just.
But I enjoyed that too.
Yeah, but, yeah. 2 different movies from our perspective, and we both enjoyed it. I mean,
yeah,
that's what you get here.
Seeing Disney movies, I'm seeing horror movies.
Yeah. But I tell you that it was a whole lot better than Space Jam. Okay, I could tell you that 100%. Like it was so much better than the Space Jam movies.
Absolutely, that
Space Jam movie.
Purgers in Space Jam, just to purge the whole thing.
God, I'm trying to. Okay, like I know, like I've actually seen like 3 summer movies, in the past month. So it's like I saw Fast 9, saw the new Space Jam movie, and then saw Jungle Cruise. So I mean, I'm starting to get back in like the full swing with the movie theater again, and I'm very happy for that.
Yeah, that's a great thing to obviously be going back to the movie theater. Although we're getting ready to go to Vegas, and now they're already back at they're already back to having a mask mandate. So it'll be a little bit of a different switch of pace for us having to go back to wearing the masks, but I think it'll still be fun.
I know. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. We really haven't had the mask mandate really for about like three,
Couple months,
a couple months now. Yeah. So I bet it will be weird.
Yeah, it
for
definitely
you.
will be.
I know.
But I'm excited, and if you have any sports book predictions, shoot them my way. And if any of you fans have any sports book bets, throw them my way. If I make money off of it, I will shout you out off on the show.
I will tell you once. Bet on the. I'm gonna jokingly say this. Bet on the Cubs to make the playoffs or something like that. I want you to flush your money down. Bet on the Cubs to make the playoffs.
Definitely not. Definitely not. I'm gonna put $10 on the Buccaneers. So either Tom Brady gets another ring or I get money. I get money if Tom Brady wins.
Yeah, Tom Brady wins. If not, the Buccaneers lose.
Me to have money.
Yeah, you finally put the kibosh on it. You finally put the kibosh on Tom Brady's career.
I got you.
I would love for that to happen. That would be great. They'd be like, "Oh, this is the end."
Well, do we want to start with NFL training camp, or where do you want to start? There's so much to talk about.
I know there is so much to talk about. I figure let's start with NFL training camp. But obviously, the big news was just, I guess either Green Bay or Aaron Rodgers blinked. I mean, that was probably the big news of him returning at least for one more year at the Green Bay Packers and stuff. So, I mean, it just feels like Brett Favre, 2.0 again. Like, it just really feels, let's just bring it back, 10 years, 20 years ago, where Brett Favre just contemplated retirement and all that. And now we're getting it again with Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. I think Aaron Rodgers going back to the Packers is big news. I think they kind of had him in the contract loophole. He didn't really want to stay. He didn't really want to be back, but he kind of had to be because he was locked under contract. They definitely weren't going to trade him.
No, they weren't. They were going to stick to their grounds, and it just sounds like Aaron kind of blinked a little bit. I'm shocked. I thought, it was funny because everything they were. I guess it kind of way Green Bay kind of blinked a little bit because they kind of gave him a little more reign after this year. So we will have to wait and see with that how this season really plays out between the Green Bay Packers and Aaron Rodgers. Like this is going to be a fascinating team to watch. It was a team that had probably the best record, one of the best records in football last year. I mean, really, and they played pretty decently in the NFC Championship game, but yeah, obviously got, they got boned, a little bit, I guess, from a call, even though, yes, it was pass interference or holding, but it's just like, yeah, they lost to a Tampa Bay team.
They did. I mean, I think they'll be good. Another thing that's been interesting, Tim Tebow looking good in the practices I'm seeing, or the footage I'm seeing on Twitter.
I want to see the other footage, I mean, yeah, usually there's like footage of him just getting, I want to see other footage. That's what I want. I've heard like his speed is bad, but it's just like Tim Tebow was never the fastest runner
ever. You get him the ball and then make people try to stop it.
Yeah, basically, yeah, just try to be like a tank in a truck. It's going to be interesting. I'm really kind of curious if it works, if he's going to make the team. It definitely will make the Jacksonville preseason games probably a little more interesting to watch. So we could watch Tim Tebow as well.
I can't wait.
Yeah, I mean, it's certainly going to be a fascinating preseason. I'm not going to lie. Because we actually have preseason this year compared to last year. We didn't have any preseason last year.
Yep, absolutely. Now, obviously, you touched on the Broncos quarterback battle too. Who are you taking there?
So far from what I've like heard on Twitter, and yeah, I got to take it with like a grain of salt. It sounds like Locke is having the better camp so far, at least the better week so far. Bridgewater's been like okay, but Locke is really kind of taking the reins a little bit. Maybe just a nice little kick in the butt or something like that could kind of help Drew Locke maybe kind of take at least a step forward, which actually may help the Denver Broncos.
I think Locke is going to be the starter regardless on day one. I think they kind of had to, just to kind of keep him like thinking he's the guy, even though I don't think he's the guy long term.
Yeah, I don't think so either. Maybe just like a nice mentor, maybe kind of mentor lock a little bit. I'm like, here's what you should kind of do here as well. And I feel
They had
like
that 2 years ago with Flacco, though.
I know, yeah, but it's just Joe Flacco was Joe Flacco. Like Joe Flacco, I think, was here to try to compete for a job. He thinks that he was going to try to compete for a job. But yeah, I think Bridgewater, they just kind of came in, and hopefully maybe like the GM and like the coaches probably sat down and tell them, like, listen, like, we want you to battle for him, but if Drew's better, we're probably going to start him. So
yeah,
that could be the case.
it could be. Well, I think that's plenty of NFL talk. Obviously, we're going to talk a lot about the NFL going forward.
I do want to make one more thing. We may have we may have to put this early on for like a season from hell potential, and that is the Indianapolis Colts. So far, so far for camp, Carson Wentz got a foot injury. Their star center, their Pro Bowl center is out, a few weeks, maybe a month with an elbow injury. Frank Reich tested positive for COVID, and then Ladarius Leonard, probably their heart and soul of their defense is kind of injured right now. So this could be a really slow start for the Indianapolis Colts, probably starting out the gate.
I had very little expectation for the Colts with Carson Wentz anyway. I didn't think they were doing much anyway.
You didn't think so? I thought they'd be what they were last year. Maybe this this 10-7, 11 and 11 and 6 type of team. Since we're gonna have the 17th game now,
they're dropping to 7-10.
They're dropping to 7-10 now. Yeah, I thought they'd be exactly what they were last year. Kind of this 10-11 win team. Play. They're always like a sneaky good like team, and like everybody's gonna be like, oh, you don't want to play the Colts or something like that, and then they have to play, and then they probably would be like the 7th seed, and then have to play the 2nd seed, and probably would have made an interesting playoff game. But we'll see. I mean, I know the season's very young right now, but
yeah. We're going to talk about we're going to preview it and probably do record breakdowns probably for every team anyway. So we'll discuss it more later. But
it's just,
I want to talk some Olympics. I want to talk some baseball. Yeah. I mean, I'm happy if you have more to say on it.
No. I'm just kind of potential or something like that. Especially for you going to Vegas. It's like, oh, maybe put a. Maybe for the Colts not to make the playoffs type of thing.
I didn't think the Colts were going to make the playoffs in the first place. Like I said, I thought they were going to take a huge step back this year.
Right, but doesn't this just kind of help you?
No, their backup might be just as good as Wentz.
Right.
It could be. I'm not a Wentz believer, man.
I thought maybe a new atmosphere, new culture, I think would help him a little bit, and he's teaming up again with the OC that kind of really helped him a lot in 16 and 17 with Frank Reich. So that's why I thought I may give it a little bit of a chance. But with this foot injury, really, I mean, he's a brittle guy. I mean, he really is. Yeah, he's been really injury prone his entire career, his entire NFL career. So
absolutely, it's another reason why I didn't have faith in him.
Yeah, so we'll have to wait and see with that.
I think so. Like I said, we're gonna do probably record breakdowns and everything for all 32 teams once the season gets a little bit closer.
Oh, absolutely.
Our division picks.
I'm ready for it.
I got a bold pick coming on that front anyway. But we're gonna wait and save that. But in any event, let's move on and talk about the MLB trade deadline. Lots of stuff going on with that. That was crazy.
That was probably one of the best trade deadlines in the history of like sports. Really, that was just a ton of names that you knew that were switching to different teams. I mean, it was just insane to think about it. And it's amazing how much baseball changes in like 2 years. I mean, you think about it, 2 years ago, the Washington Nationals were on this really hot streak that were leading towards the eventual World Series championship, and now they're trading to the team that they beat in 5 games in the NLDS with the Los Angeles Dodgers with the Max Scherzer and Trey Turner deal. I mean, it was a crazy deadline, and that's just like the top of it right there.
Yeah, I mean, it really is. And I mean, I'm shocked because I mean, the Cubs and the Nationals were competing like what, just 2 years ago?
Yeah. Yeah. Yes, they were
Like,
basically.
so like for them to go and blow it up, and I mean, it's not like, especially with the Cubs, like they're this team that's hamstrung financially. Like they couldn't have offered Baez and Bryant and Rizzo extensions. Like I'm sure that at least a couple of those guys would have stayed in Chicago if they were offered extensions. So that was kind of surprising to me, honestly, that they both blew it up and then, or that the Nationals and the Cubs blew it up and then played each other.
It is crazy. Yeah, they just really kind of blow it up, and this was kind of the end of the Cubs. I guess that's Cubs run too, because really, I mean, it's just they're gonna be a bad team now.
They're gonna be very bad.
They're gonna be very bad for the next few years and stuff. And it's just and you'll actually, I think you'll probably see who like the true fans really are compared to some of these bandwagon fans, where they kind of where they fly the W type of thing.
I feel like the Cubs don't have bandwagon fans, man. The Cubs have very loyal fans even when they're bad.
No,
I went to college with a lot of Cubs fans who were really diehards when they were bad.
Okay, yeah, but again, you went to Missouri, okay, and it's probably going to be a little bit different. I think maybe like nationwide, but maybe in that kind of that Midwest region. I think we'll still have that fan base, but I really do. I think you got like maybe like a ton of bandwagon fans when they actually won the championship, and these fans were gonna like, oh yeah, fly the W. Those fans have probably kind of dropped off now. They're just like, oh, I don't need to go now. They stuck.
I disagree, man.
I'm gonna go to the Brewers or something like that.
The Cubs have one of the most loyal fan bases that have sat through 108 years of suffering. Like they sat through a 108-year drought. Like the Cubs have very loyal fans. Now, if you're looking for the bandwagon in Chicago, it was when the Chicago Blackhawks were good.
Yeah, that is very true.
That's where the bandwagon in Chicago was.
That is very true. And yeah, I don't know. Maybe some of these bandwagon Cubs fans switch over and do their allegiances to the black and white of the White Sox. That could be the case too.
That might
White Sox
start repping the White Sox.
They start repping the White Sox a little bit, yeah, because they're now the good Chicago team, which is just crazy to think about 4 years ago that they have that.
And they make the good move to get Kimbrel, strengthen up the back end of that bullpen. And I mean, I think they're in a great spot because they're going to run away with this AL Central. So, I mean, at that point, they're going to at least coast into the playoffs. And that's, like I said, that's going to put them in a good spot.
It is going to put them in a good spot. And they actually really do have a good, like, kind of really back end, like probably like a 7th, 8th, 9th inning players with that now. And
absolutely,
yeah, they actually really have probably the most solid bullpen of bullpens right now. And we'll have to wait and see, how that plays out in October. But yeah, we will definitely
great starting rotation too.
Yeah, they do, and they have great hitting. Yeah, it's going to be. Yeah, they'll probably run away with the Central a little bit. Yeah. I mean, Cleveland's 9 back from them right now, so they're very in a comfortable lead right now. But it's not like too comfortable where it's like, oh, if you could lose a couple of games and they win a couple of games, you'll be fine. But I mean, really, this is really just a great thing to kind of see.
Yeah, the White Sox becoming relevant again. Like I said, I've been to that stadium there. It's a fun spot. And I mean, I'm glad to see a little noise being made on the south side. Obviously, you talked about the Cubs blowing everything up. The Washington Nationals also making the similar move. But I mean, I think they were kind of in a spot where they were getting ready to age out of some of their era of being good. And so, I mean, I get them kind of blowing things up. Although, once again, I mean, the Dodgers going in and making the big move of getting both Scherzer and Turner. I mean, like I said, the Dodgers obviously already were probably like the favorite to win the World Series. And I think they only added to that by adding Scherzer and Turner.
Right. Yeah. They really added an arsenal that was already stocked with talent as well, especially that pitching staff. I know a couple of arms that went down, but I mean, getting a guy like Scherzer, I mean, that is just, especially, really really solidify that starting rotation is just really,
That way,
really
when
crazy
Clayton
to think
Kershaw
about.
chokes in the postseason, you could hand it over to Scherzer.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Or it's like they have like David Price too. I mean, it's funny, when you kind of think about it, it's like, oh yeah, David Price coming out of the bullpen, or it's like he comes in for like a spot start here or there when somebody needs like a rest. I'm like, wow, what a luxury to have when you can have somebody like a good pitcher like David Price that kind of come in out of the bullpen, or have him have like a spot start here or there who could still give you like 6-7 innings as well. I mean, it is a crazy, crazy luxury to have.
It's insane the roster that they've put together. I mean, you got Buehler, who's great, Urias, who looks like he's kind of coming into his own as a starter too, and then they have this really good bullpen too with Joe Kelly, Blake Trinan, and Kenley Jansen. So I mean, they're going to be very stocked. They somehow have Pujols on this team, like with Trey Turner and all these guys. Like I said, I don't know where all these guys are going to play, but they have them all.
They have them all, and they want to kind of dethrone the Giants right now, who are still playing really well. They're really playing good right now, and I have to eat crow, man. I mean, I thought the Giants were going to be bad at the start of the season. You can go back and listen to it. I thought they were going to be bad this year, but no, I have to eat crow. They're playing really exceptionally well, and I gotta. Hey, when I'm wrong, I say I'm wrong, and I was totally wrong about the Giants. I thought they'd be like a mediocre team. I thought they'd be like a mediocre 500 team, kind of like what like St. Louis kind of is right now. Kind of this mediocre team, but competing with. Like St. Louis is still kind of in it, but when you're competing with the likes of, the LA and San Diego, really, you're kind of going to be far back. But no, they're right in the thick of things. They have the best record in the NL right now. So if the season ended today, they would have home field advantage throughout the entire playoffs. And yeah, I mean, it's just I was wrong. I really was. I was wrong about the Giants. I know.
Definitely. I mean, like I said, we didn't have any faith in them. Obviously, I had that bullpen with Jake McGee at the back end. We didn't believe in the Giants, but they go out and they make the big move too at the deadline. They go and they get Chris Bryant to add that extra bat. I mean, I think they're going to be pretty solid too.
They are going to be solid, and really, I think kind of third base was really kind of their kind of weak spot, and they really kind of solidified it right there with the Chris Bryant trade. Really, that was kind of like their weak spot. I thought it was just the case of the dynasty or that core was getting really, really old, or this is probably the cat jump year of the core. Kind of keeping this is like the one last good year before really things really start tailing off for the Giants. As far as with that core with Posey, Belt, Crawford. All those names. So this is kind of
those
maybe
guys
like
all-stars.
I know. Yeah. So this is maybe like a last hurrah. I really do. I know. I'm praising him, and yet I'm making fun of him. That type of thing.
You're praising them. You're saying you're wrong for saying they weren't going to be good this year, and then you double down and say that they're going to be bad next year.
They're going to be bad next year. I was just 1 year too early. Let's put it that way. I was 1 year too early on it.
I mean, I don't think anyone predicted them being this good, but like I said, I don't think that they're going to just suddenly wake up next year and be bad at baseball. Like I said, Crawford was an all-star this year.
Posey
kind of has been a late bloomer, I feel like, in his career. You have Posey. I mean, they are getting a little older in their rotation with Cueto, but even Cueto's been good this year. Des Clefani's been good this year. I mean, I think Alex Wood's one of those guys who's solid. Like I said, they have some guys, and they could be good.
Yeah, they could be good. They could be good.
And they have Chris Bryant in the mix now.
Yeah, they got Chris Bryant now kind of in this mix. And yeah, I mean, it's just crazy. I mean, also one thing too, I'm kind of surprised with is Atlanta. I know it's the NL East. It's a really, really, I guess, really kind of a bad division right now, but it's just like, I'm looking at the standings right now. And I mean, we're approaching the last 2 months of the season. Atlanta is still right there at 4 back right now. I mean, they were kind of buyers a little bit, at the trade deadline. They were kind of like sneaky buyers at the trade deadline, and yeah, with the Acuna injury going out, and and yeah, and then like I think Sorkia getting hurt as well, one of their top pitchers. I mean, really, they've kind of really battled with this and somehow still kind of in this division right now. Right. And it's just great. It's just a testament to see how resilient this club is.
And I gotta be honest, I think the Braves made some really good moves at the deadline. Like they went out and got some decent players, some decent hitters, and Eddie Rosario and Adam Duvall, some guys who are like, and Jorge Soler. Like, I mean, they went out and got some guys who can hit. But unlike the Dodgers, who gave away like all their top prospects, the Braves really didn't give away that much. They gave away like Pablo Sandoval and like guys that weren't good anyway. So you got to give them credit. Like they've actually been able to go out and get some good players at like zero cost.
Yeah, they really have gotten better. They really kind of bolstered this and kind of really make a run at this NL East that you thought two
It's
or 3 weeks
open.
ago. Yeah, you thought 2 or 3 weeks ago when the Acuna, you just kind of wrote them off. But no, they're kind of in the thick of things with Philly and the Mets right now, and it's weird with Washington too, because they're only like 6.5 back at the trade. You know, they were really only 6.5 back, and yet they got rid of everybody. Really, I mean, it was kind of a strange thing. But I do agree with you. It was one of those teams that really like, yeah, that really was going to get old the next couple of years. So maybe it was just a case of let's blow it up now and just really concentrate on getting a team really right around Juan Soto.
They did, and I mean, they really went out and they got a lot of guys that like they got a lot of good prospects to build around Soto with. They have the Dodgers' top catching prospect. They have one of the Dodgers' top pitching prospects in Gray, who was able to go toe to toe with John Gray last week in LA. I mean, they have some guys now that could build for the future. I think they were right to blow it up. Like I said, I'm still shocked that the Cubs did, just because the Cubs were a team that like. Once again, the Cubs can re-sign these guys, so maybe that's their goal, is to try and re-sign them all, like to trade them all away for 2 months and then re-sign them all again at the end of next year or after the season's over.
Right? Yeah, they could do. You're right. They could probably do that and be like, "Hey, we brought them back, folks. Come on, get excited, Brian and Rizzo.
Chris Bryant's back. Rizzo's back."
It is interesting as well. I mean, it's just like, especially too, we really haven't talked about the Yankees because they were kind of like the big, like, other really than the Cubs. They were kind of the big free agent people with picking up Rizzo and Joey Gallo as well. And I mean, Joey Gallo is just going to fit perfectly in that lineup. You know, he's either going to hit a home run or he strikes out. So he's going to fit perfectly into that lineup.
Like, here's the thing, man. The Yankees, I'm surprised. I mean, they went out and they got Rizzo and they got Gallo, which were both great moves. But at the end of the day, they also got to pitch, man. And I don't think they're good at pitching.
No, they're not.
They don't have good starting pitching. So I'm surprised they didn't try to go land like Gibson from the Rangers or something.
Yeah, I'm really shocked. I mean, they really went, you know, really, I guess, really ham, really on this trade deadline, really, acquiring bats for some reason, even though it really hasn't been the scoring that's been the problem. It's been the pitching as far as with like bullpen as well. And yeah, that just pitching just hasn't really been there as well. And it's just really it's probably been one of the most disappointing teams, even though, they have a 54-48 record. It's just, they're not up there with the likes of Tampa Bay and Boston, who are competing right now for the AL East crown.
Yeah, and the Blue Jays are in that mix too. Don't forget about the Blue Jays.
Right, yeah, and the Blue Jays are in that crown as well. I mean, it's just really kind of been a disappointing year because you thought the Yankees were going to be really this dominant force in the AL East, and that really hasn't been the case, really. And it's just been kind of shocking. Like the Red Sox have really kicked their butts this year. Like, really, it's been all Red Sox.
And I mean, I guess the Yankees are not as good as I thought offensively, because I mean, they have the worst offense in that division. They scored less runs than Baltimore has.
That's a bad sign.
I guess that shows how much I've been paying attention to them. But you look at it on paper, this lineup should be like just insane with Sanchez at catcher. Obviously, you have Rizzo now at first base, DJ LeMahieu at second, like Urshela, Torres. Like, I mean, this lineup is just stacked. And then you have Gallo, Judge, and Stanton in the outfield. Like, this team, even before the acquisitions of Gallo and Rizzo, should have just been putting up a ton of runs.
You're right. Yeah, it should have been one, but it's just, again, like I said, it's a perfect lineup. They either hit home runs or they either hit home runs or they strike out, and that's not a good offense that you want. That's really like an offense where all you do is just shoot threes. Like, I guess putting it in basketball terms, it's just like that's all you do is shoot threes, or you did the Joe Flacco offense where literally you just throw deep all the time. That really kind of the equivalent, and that does, you either get a catch, PI, or you get intercepted, So, I mean, it's just, you got, and 2 of the 3 outcomes are good. But as far as with baseball, it's just, usually it's like either a pop out like home run or a strikeout. And that's not a very good odds to have. You don't want that at all.
No, definitely not. Well, I might have to pause here momentarily. Andrea's dad's here.
Okay, cool.
But let me ask you this. I mean, obviously, I'll probably cut this part out. But, I mean, the Cardinals also go out and make some weird moves at the deadline. They acquired J.A. Happ, who's been a literal, like, piñata this season, has allowed the most earned runs of anybody. And then they go and acquire John Lester too. Like, they go and they get these like kind of over the hill stars to try and bolster their rotation. And maybe they'll be good in St. Louis, but they haven't been good this year.
Right. Yeah. And they acquired another pitcher too, and TJ they're a team that really, I mean, you thought this was a team that was really going to really be on top of the NL Central with the Nolan Arenado deal and all that, and that really has not been the case, really. I mean, and that's been kind of their backfall too. I mean, it's just like the hitting hasn't been really good. The pitching has been sort of okay, and like the bullpen pitching as well. I mean, it's not been really it's been like a mediocre year. I mean, that's the best way I can kind of describe it for the St. Louis Cardinals right now. And that's been mediocre. And that's probably going to spell doom for them to try to sign Nolan Arenado. Because again, he can opt out after this year. So, I mean, if there's any praise that you can kind of give to the Rockies, it's at least they at least got some people out of it as well with the, at least they got at least a not bad starter in Austin Gomber, who's actually been probably one of the better starters for this Rockies organization. So it's just, I feel like they're trying to go all in to try to compete and try to beat the Milwaukee Brewers right now, who currently are top of the NL Central, and St. Louis right now is like 9.5 back. So they got to kind of make a run now to at least even get to the NL Central to win, because really that's going to be the case for them, because I don't think they're really going to get to the wild card, because I feel like the two NL West, we're going to have probably 3 NL West teams in this playoffs as it goes. So it's going to be a interesting deal. I don't know if the John Lester thing, I know he wasn't a Cub, but I feel like it's another one of these, just, the Cubs kind of blown up the organization, I guess, for me. Yeah.
And then also the big news, I guess, was kind of the Padres making some big deals and the Rockies standing pat in the NL West.
Yeah, that's the case. I'm kind of hearing the rumors, that Trevor Story was going to be traded, but it just sounded like really they didn't get it. It really didn't find a deal that was really good enough for them and stuff. And they kind of stand pat. I mean, I guess it's probably, they probably jokingly, probably some organizations probably asked for like $50 million for the Trevor Story deal or something like that. So I think a lot of people kind of hung up on that one. So
right, absolutely. They're like, what? You're not going to give us $50 million to take your guy?
Yeah, exactly. The Padres. They kind of
they made an okay move, but they didn't make the big noise.
They didn't make the big noise. They were in the running for the big noise for the Scherzer deal until the Dodgers kind of swooped in and kind of took that claim as well. So I mean, it's just really, if there was kind of a loser, it's probably the Padres, because they were really in the running, and it sounded like it was going to be rumored that Scherzer was going to be a Padre, but it didn't end up being that way.
No, definitely not.
Well, they did get Adam Frazier's from the Pittsburgh Pirates, so they added a really good hitter right now.
That didn't make much sense to me. Like, they already have the second baseman. I guess Tatis got injured last night, so maybe that's.
Yeah, it's just kind of a backup. Yeah, in case if like Tatis' body starts falling apart. Really, and it I know. Yeah, I saw that. It really is just kind of a shame. Like, it's just like, God, like I'm feeling worried about this guy, because it just seems like he gets a lot of knick-knack injuries here or there. Like it's just, yeah, he takes a foul ball off his foot, and then you saw him with the shoulder injury as well.
All right, now let's move on to the Olympics. Have you been watching? I'm gonna ask you, Bushy, how much Olympics have you been watching, and what have you been watching?
I've been watching a ton of Olympics right now. Really, I mean, that's been kind of the saving grace right now with me, as far as like sporting wise. Really, is just watching a ton of Olympics and stuff. I do got to get a little bit mad though about about really kind of the Olympic coverage, because really I haven't seen like a ton of sports. Like, really, I mean, it's just like the major networks, as far as NBC, NBCSN, CNBC, USA or something like that. Really, I mean, they really have kind of lacked the Olympics coverage. Really, I mean, it's not on Bravo, it's not on MSNBC. Like, I really just don't understand what the programming that NBC is really kind of doing. It feels like they're just playing all the same sports too. Like, it's just, I've seen a ton of water polo, I've seen a ton of the rugby sevens, both men and women as well. And it's just, and I know that they show the primetime sports in prime time, so it's like, especially this first week, we've had a ton of gymnastics and we've had a ton of swimming, which is okay. I'm used to it. They do it all the time. But as far as like these other networks, really, I mean, they've really been they've been showing a lot of rowing on CNBC, and that's the thing. Like, I just don't understand. Like, I'm just like, rowing is just one of these sports where it's just like you put it on late at night or something like that, or yeah, you put it on like. Yeah, I feel like it's like a Bravo show or something. It's like a channel on Bravo, not like CNBC. And it's just like, and really not a lot of team sports I've been watching, really, other than like the water polo and then like the rugby sevens. I mean, it's like, I guess they've shown a lot. They have shown a lot of beach volleyball and volleyball, so I've been really happy about that. So I've really gotten a volleyball fix with that, and yeah, it's just crazy. But it's just like I haven't seen like any field hockey. I've seen a little bit of handball here or there, but it's just I haven't seen really a lot of like basketball, really, with both the men's and the women's with the USA team as well. And they really haven't shown a lot of soccer as well. And it's just like, and it's funny too, because it's like they show like these live sports, and it's like, oh, you can watch it live at like 4 a.m. Eastern. I'm like, that's 2 a.m. here, folks. Like, I'm in bed, I'm sleeping, I got a full-time job. Like, I'm not going to stay up and watch a soccer event and watch it all the time. I mean, it really is just kind of really just like a hodgepodge right now. And it's just, I actually been watching a lot of fencing too. I really kept just showing like the intensity with fencing as well. And I feel like it's up there with like the power rankings as far as with like, with that, because it's just like, man, like I've never seen people just so intense before, just trying to people just stab, kind of stabbing a guy with a sword. Like I've never seen people just so intense before, and just so happy about that. But it was cool seeing that girl who won the first, like, I think kind of like fencing gold for the USA. So that was like a really cool thing. And it's just, I haven't seen a ton of boxing. I haven't seen a ton of wrestling or like judo and karate or something like that. They really haven't shown those type of sports. I mean, I've watched a lot more skeet shooting than I've seen those as well. And I've seen a lot more archery too. So, I mean, it's just, I feel like the events really, I mean, as far as with like the programming of events have been just really, really kind of, I guess in a way, they really kind of half-assed it this year. It really has been kind of disappointing as far as with like the NBC programming part. And yeah, but I've enjoyed it. I've watched a ton of the Olympics. It's been a blast. It's been fun. And and again, it's one of these sports I'm not going to see again for another for another 3 years until 2024. So I'm excited for that.
Yeah, you went on a rant about the networks. I mean, obviously, I have a rant of my own, and it's about Simone Biles, man. Everyone on the internet is praising Simone. Oh, how great it is that she quit and took time for her mental health. She quit on her team, man, and I'm upset about it. At the end of the day, if she'd have like waited even a day and pulled out of the individual one, that's fine. I would have been okay with that. But for her to like quit on her team in the middle of a competition and then get praised by the internet for being a quitter, that upsets me. Because at the end of the day, she also took a spot from some little girl who trained her entire life to get to the Olympic Games, came up just short, didn't get to go, probably will never get to go. And because of that, because Simone got there and quit, that girl's sitting at home and could have helped us win a medal. You don't know.
We don't know about that. Yeah, and kind of seeing, some training videos and all that. It just sounds like she can't like twist and turn anymore. It's just like, I think it could be a case of she has the yips a little bit. I mean, it's just, it could be a thing. It's just it was just weird, kind of seeing that message of her kind of dropping out. I was like, really? Like, this is the equivalent of the Super Bowl for the Olympics. I mean, how much praise would like Patrick Mahomes or like Tom Brady would have gotten if they decided,
None.
Or how about Patrick Mahomes like halfway through this previous year's Super Bowl after getting his butt kicked really by this Tampa Bay, he's like, no, I'm good. I don't want to play anymore. That type of thing. I mean, it's just. It was an interesting story. I'm not going to lie. It was very, very weird. I was like, really? Like, because she had really a lot about this talk about like, how there was never been a repeated champion, how she really wanted to repeat and kind of really help with the organization and stuff. And that kind of fell flat.
It sure did. And like I said, I think, for her to come out and quit, like you said, it's just, and say, oh, it's for my mental health. Like at the end of the day, you can't say it's for your mental health and then all of a sudden later say, oh, you got the twisties or whatever it is. Like at the end of the day, it felt like the first time she faced adversity that she didn't hit this crazy trick, that she didn't dominate, that she basically just quit. Okay, well, I didn't get my perfect score, so I'm just gonna quit. Like it felt like, and it feels like it's a bad message to kids out there. Okay, the first time you face adversity, just quit and say it's for your mental health, and then you'll be praised by the internet for weeks or for the rest of the week.
It is, and it's funny because it's a story we're talking about right now that really, I think probably 3 years from now we're going to be like, oh yeah, that's right, I forgot like Simone Biles,
Oh yeah,
basically kind of quit during the thing. Yeah, because I know NBC will probably make a thing about it in like 2024, but it's just like it's one of those things you just kind of like think about it and you go, oh yeah, that's right. Like that's right. Yeah, he did kind of quit, that type of thing. I mean, it was a really interesting story. It's something that I really have kind of never seen before, where somebody really has kind of like dropped out really in like the middle of the event really. And it was just cool because really, I mean, it gave way to basically another gymnast darling in Suni Lee. I mean, she was really amazing. And it really made me excited to kind of watch, even though, yes, I did get the spoiler, they kind of show with like the primetime thing. I know because of the time difference, it really is a crazy time difference. I don't blame NBC about that, when really it's like, it's really in the afternoon and the next day afternoon in Japan when they're doing previous nights type of thing. So I don't blame NBC about that one. But it's just, but it was just great to watch it because it's just, I got spoiled and I'm like, oh, I'm going to watch it now. And hopefully the viewership kind of went up a little bit when they found out that, Suni Lee won the all around gold.
Yeah, I mean, you would definitely think so, but at the same time, like I said, I just don't like the idea that now everyone's going to think quitting on your teammates is going to be okay.
I'm really kind of curious if this does kind of stick on. I'm really, especially with like football, basketball, or something like that, and especially like I think if we have a potential person really in like Kyrie Irving, I feel like Kyrie Irving's going to kind of do that. I feel like he's going to kind
Oh,
of,
absolutely. He's gonna.
yeah. Remember, who was the guy? Who's the guy in like 2017 that quit during like the Buffalo Bills, like during halftime? He was just like, I retire. Like,
Oh,
wasn't
I
there like a
forget.
guy? Yeah, there was a guy like that.
But that's my point, is that you can't be a quitter like Simone Biles and then be called the GOAT. There's no GOATs that quit. Brady doesn't quit. As much as I'd love to see him quit, he's never quit. Michael Jordan didn't bail on his team after they lost a game to the Rockets or the Suns or the Jazz in the finals. And I don't think they played the Rockets, but he didn't quit after they lost to the Suns or the Jazz in a game in the finals. This, for me, like I said, was kind of egregious that she would quit on her team. Once again, if you tough it out and the team still wins the silver, that's fine. And then you quit for the individual events, that's fine. But don't quit during the team competition. That's what's bullshit to me of this whole thing, is that she quits during the team competition, goes over to her teammates and says, you know what? I've won this gold medal. You guys got this. Go get it. And that'd be like Brady last year on the Buccaneers being like, you know what? After they lost and they were like 8-6, that would have been like him being like, you know what, guys? You guys got this. I got my Super Bowl rings. This is all you now. Like, it felt like not only was she like saying screw you to her teammates, but also saying like, screw you. This medal isn't that important to me. I've already got a bunch. Don't matter anymore.
Exactly. Yeah. Oh, and the guy previous, the guy kind of retired at halftime. It was Vontae Davis, and actually, it was only a couple of years ago. I kind of forgot about that.
Right.
Yeah, I
But
kind of
that's my
forgot about that.
point.
Yeah,
You
but it's
forget
just like,
about quitters.
I
You
know.
even
Yeah.
made the point. We're going to forget about Simone Biles in 2 years.
Well, I
Maybe even
figured.
2
Well,
months.
I figured NBC is going to bring her on as like a special consultant, so she'll
Oh, I'm
definitely
sure,
be on
because
in 2024. So we'll definitely.
she's
This
such
won't
an
be the.
internet darling for quitting. Go on. I cut you off. I'm sorry.
No worries about that. But yeah, I remember, man, like I remember you and I don't think you remember, but it's just like I was texting like a lot of people, and I think I was texting you. I was like, did you hear about this Vontae Davis thing? And we were just like, we were making so much fun of him. Like he was just like quitting, like literally at like halftime and stuff. And we're just making like so much fun of him and all that. But I do agree with you. I mean, it's just it does set like a bad example, I guess. And really, I mean,
For girls
yeah,
everywhere.
yeah, it was. I mean, it's just I it was just a weird story. I'm not gonna lie. Like it's just like when I saw that, when I woke up and I saw that she, she basically did that, I was like, really? I'm like, oh, okay. That's an interesting thing. I did not think that could happen, but it did.
Yeah, like I said, that's like I said, that's soft. This whole generation soft. But like I said, quitting on your teammates, not cool. And like I said, taking that opportunity away from someone who would have like really, really wanted to actually be there and try to compete this week. As someone who rode the bench literally their entire life, I would have killed just to have 1 second of playing time. Like, for her to go there and quit and basically say, okay, it's not important for whoever would have rather had this spot, that bothers me. Really bothers me.
It does bother a little
And
bit.
it bothers me how the internet's like idolizing her for it.
Yeah, it's just like, taking the time away. It was like the pressures of the Olympics. I'm like, yeah, that's the pressure packed situation. It is the Olympics. Like, it's not like it's like a walk in the park or some kind of gymnastics meet and, like Durango or something like that, or Durango, Colorado, or in like North Dakota or something like that. I mean, this is the Olympics. Yes, it's a little bit pressure packed. Like, what? Sometimes you just don't have it, really. I mean, you saw it. Great swimmers just don't have it. Great runners just didn't have it. It was just like a weird and a bad story.
It is. It bothers me.
It is.
Now, let me ask you this. Were there any sports that have kind of jumped out to you that you're like, okay, because there's always like one sport I feel like I find every Olympics where I'm like, oh, I kind of like that. And then I end up watching like 5 hours of it or something.
I actually ended up the first weekend. I ended up watching a lot of the skateboarding stuff. It was like really kind of like the skateboarding and surfing because those were like the first competitions that had it, and it's weird. So they're gonna have surfing is part of the Olympic sport, but like France is next up on the docket. I kind of overheard this. France is kind of on the docket, so France is next, and I've heard that the surfing competition is going to be at Tahiti. So that's what I've kind of learned as
Oh,
well. So I mean,
interesting.
it is going to be like a fascinating thing, especially for like some of these inland countries, that host the Olympics. I'm like, what are they going to do with the sport of surfing? I mean,
Right.
it is going to be like an interesting thing. Is like, are they going to compete in the opening ceremonies and then they do it, or is this going to be like a tape delay type of thing where they kind of did the event beforehand and then they kind of show it during the Olympics? I mean, it's going to be really logistically a crazy thing. I really am kind of curious what's going to happen in 2024.
It's going to be interesting in 2024, but it's going to be awesome in 2032 when it's in Brisbane, because obviously those Australians can surf.
Oh yeah, exactly. Yeah, and I watched a lot of skateboarding. That was really interesting with like the street competition. I thought there was going to be like a vert or something like that, but no, it was kind of like more like a street competition. I'm like, okay, like that. Okay, yes,
Yeah.
that's part of this like a street competition. But yeah, I kind of want like a vert or something like that, or maybe like a
Yeah.
downhill race or something like that, and see people crash. I think that would be a fun thing to kind of watch.
See
I
a
think that would be,
skateboard.
yeah.
Yeah.
But I watched a lot of skateboarding. It was funny too. I was watching this Peru skater. I don't know if you saw it on the internet.
I
Uh,
may
the
not
Peru,
have.
the Peru skater kind of dipped and kind of basically he messed up his trick, and he was sliding and is basically like he hit the railing like right between the legs, man. I mean, it was just,
Oh.
I saw it live, and I saw it live with my dad, and we were just like, both of us went ooh, and we had to rewind it to watch it again. I'm like, did I just see what I saw? And sure
Oh
enough, it
yeah.
did happen. It was just like just seeing him get hit in the nuts, and I was like, oh, like, and it's just like, what are the rhythm? But he got up. I mean, it probably didn't sound like he got hit too hard in that region. Maybe it was more of the buttocks region. He probably felt it a little bit afterwards, but it was actually a great story too, because he actually had that fall and I think he ended up finishing 5th in the Olympics. I mean, it was just as far as with the whole tournament. So it was actually a really cool story. I was actually kind of rooting for him.
Yeah, I mean that's definitely kind of interesting. I was a little disappointed by the skateboarding stuff. I thought it was gonna be like a little bit cooler, a little bit longer. And maybe it's because I didn't see the guy getting hit on the nuts. Although, like with MTV showing like ridiculousness every hour of every day, like
Yeah, you kind of get numb
I
to
feel like
it.
I can just flip over to ridiculousness and watch someone skateboard into their nuts or something. So I guess I feel like I was a little let down by that. The surfing was cool. I've really liked watching the handball. Have you watched any
Handball,
handball?
handball has always been like a fascinating sport to
I
me,
love
and
it.
I know I love it as well. It's always a
Like,
sport I always seem to catch on the Olympics. I always try to find time to find it, and yeah, it's always a great sport to watch it. It's always one of these sports where I'm like, I kind of want to play it. Just kind of
oh,
play it, just kind of play it like rec league or something like that. I think I would
yeah.
actually, I probably would be tired after probably the first 5 minutes because I see like a bunch of
Oh, it's
running in and out.
fast. Yeah.
It is fast paced. Yeah, I'd probably be like, after the first 5 minutes, I'll be
Yeah.
like, I'm gonna need time. Like,
Yeah,
just put me on
you
the
really
bench,
have to
coach.
get in some serious shape and then start a rec handball league. But man, like it's physical. It looks like it's a lot of fun. I really like even like watching the women's ones because none of those girls quit and they go hard into each other. It's a lot of fun. And I mean, it's kind of cool because some of these like you know, upper European countries up in like Scandinavia are actually pretty good at it. You would watch Sweden be good, Norway, Netherlands was good today against Norway. It was a lot of fun. And so obviously I really liked watching the handball. That's kind of been the sport that jumped out to me this Olympics. And then 4 years ago, well, I was really liking rugby sevens. I haven't caught as much of that. I just haven't seen it on as much, but I liked watching the rugby too.
Yeah, there really hasn't been like a ton of team sports on. Like I've watched a ton of rowing, but that's because it's on like I kind of went on this rant and it's just like I watched it on CNBC and it's just like there's been like a ton of rowing on and I'm like, I don't want this. Like, don't give me
No.
rowing or something like that. Like, that's just bad. But I actually have been watching a lot of volleyball, both like the men's and the women's side. So there's been like a ton of volleyball on and a ton of like both of the beach kind and in the indoor kind as well. So I've been watching just a ton of that as well. So that's always been a fun thing as well. And it's just, I haven't really watched a lot of basketball. Like, I just really like,
There's a shocker.
well, not so much. I mean, I do like watching like Olympic basketball because really, I mean, it's like we're putting like an all-star team out to really beat up on like some of these, crappy countries. Really, I like watching that. When we're putting this team of all-stars out, really, to beat up on Iran. So that's always been my thing, and it's just like.
We should never lose a Olympic basketball game. I'm sorry, but we should not.
They kind of choked it at the end. Really, that first game, I kind of watched it, and they really did choke it at the end. But then they really have kind of stepped up the next couple of games. Really, kind of dominated Iran and the Czech Republic as well. So I mean, it's just been like a fascinating thing, and it's just. And just watching like some of these, I've watched like archery and like skeet shooting.
Yeah, I watched a little bit of archery last night. That was pretty interesting.
Yeah, it was interesting.
Did you watch any of the 3-on-3 basketball?
I watched a little bit. They really didn't show. They really didn't show it as much, and I'm just like, okay, like it's one of those. I'm like, type of things. I'm like, I get it with like the people, but yeah, it's just. Have seen a little more rugby sevens. I've kind of enjoyed that. I just feel like rugby sevens is just like too quick for me. I feel like it's just a little bit too quick for my taste. I mean, I feel like it goes a little bit too fast. I think like they should extend the time a little bit. Maybe instead of like a 7-minute half, you have maybe 10-minute half. I think that
I could go for that.
I actually would be in favor of that as well. And then maybe put in a mercy clock in case if like the score does get out of hand. So if it like, like Fiji or New Zealand is beating up on a really bad country, you can put like the mercy clock on, that type of thing. But yeah, it really has been like fascinating. I've actually watched a lot of fencing.
And again, fencing too.
Yeah, there has been like a lot of fencing on, and it's just, I still don't understand the sport. Like I've watched it like every Olympics for like the past like 3-4 times, and I'm just like, I still don't understand the rules, and it's just like, it's just like a weird thing.
Stab the other person, man. It's that simple.
Yeah, you got to stab the other person, but it's just like, oh, but this person was in an attacking, but his attack was finished, so that person could defend. So that's the reason why this got the point, even though this guy's light lit up before him or something like that. The rules are very complicated, I guess in a way, and it's just like, and I guess you're supposed to stab the opponent, but not, you got to stab him, basically in like a chest and stomach area. You can't stab him in the arm or something like that,
right?
Like, or else they don't count that for a hit. So I still don't understand the rule, even though I enjoy it. I'll still watch it.
I mean, it's definitely still interesting. I gotta say this though. I mean, I also love watching some of these like under the radar, like small countries. Like I watched a little bit of Taekwondo last weekend, and I saw some guy from Uzbekistan like win the gold in like an upset. That's the beauty of the Olympics that I want to see. I want to see these guys from like a Uzbekistan, or like the person from Bermuda that won the triathlon, like all these like, or the person from Tunisia that won the gold medal in swimming. I love watching those little or like less well-funded countries, or even less heard of countries, just go out and win a gold medal. That is awesome. I love it.
Yeah, and it has been really like cool, and I actually really have kind of enjoyed like they're adding. I think like this Olympics they're adding a lot of like mixed gender sports, so it's just like, so I've enjoyed like, it was like a weird experiment, but seeing like like a mixed relay team with swimming and track and field, and then they have like mixed, and they have like mixed double. I mean, they've always kind of had mixed doubles with like badminton and table tennis and I think like tennis too. So I mean, I would love to see that and like incorporate more, maybe in like golf or something like that. I'm surprised though, like golf isn't like. Here's what they should do. Here's what they should do to fix golf. Okay, here's what they should do. They should have for 1 week, you have the match play. You match play with like a ton of countries, and it's kind of like a Ryder Cup scenario. kind of that in the way. You kind of do that. You kind of do like in a Ryder Cup scenario, and then the next weekend you do the similar format like you did with like a major or something like that. It's like an individual thing. So then, yeah, top 3 people get gold, silver, bronze or something like that. I actually would be in favor of that. That way we get kind of more golf in. I think I would love a team play aspect and then an individual aspect as well, because we do have like the Ryder Cup and all these other cups too with golf. And it's just like, I feel like they're really leaving the team aspect out rather than the individual part.
I love that idea. I think that's a fantastic idea.
Yes,
I think, yeah. And then you get more golf, and then it's like the team aspect. I'd also love for some Olympic mini golf.
Okay, I feel like we're getting out there with like the
sports.
I
feel like my idea is out there. Your idea is actually a great idea. We should have a team sport. We should have golf as a team sport and as an individual sport.
I mean, is it breakdancing? Is it breakdancing going to be a sport in 2024? So I guess if breakdancing is a sport, I guess we should get mini golf. Why not?
Yeah, if breakdancing is a sport and rock climbing is a sport and jumping up and down on a trampoline is an Olympic sport now, then why the heck can't? I think it's hard to try and hit the ball through the windmill. Like, let's make mini golf and let's have some fun. Let's get an Olympic mini golf championship.
Let's get an Olympic mini golf. So yeah, people like you and I can be like, hey, we're Olympians. Come on. Yeah. We're world-class athletes.
I'm nowhere near good enough to be an Olympic mini golf player, but I think you get the best mini golf players in the world. And I mean, it doesn't even have to be the Olympics, but how come it hasn't shown up on ESPN instead of like the cornhole championships? I'd much rather watch a mini golf tournament. Although I guess that's kind of holy moly on ABC.
But I'm surprised they don't have like a world, like I have seen like a mini golf championship. Like I did, those late nights watching ESPN Classics sometimes, when I was a teenager. I mean, I remember seeing that they were showing like 95, 96, 97, mini golf championships or something like that, like pro mini golf championships. So I'm like, that's not out of the element. Like it could happen. So we'll have to wait and see with that. It was definitely an interesting thing. I love my golf idea. I think it's just a great way to improve golf. And it's just, and then I would love to see, who would these people pick or something like that? Will we have like a Brooks Koepka and a Bryson DeChambeau, have them actually be teammates or something like that? That would be interesting. I want that. That would have been really drama. And I would have been all in favor of it.
Well, absolutely. And then it's also a fantastic idea too, in that, they're teammates, but then like they don't necessarily have to be, because usually like even with college golf, because you're playing as a team, but you're not playing with people from your own team.
Right. Yeah. But they have to be kind of like teammates and kind of really kind of be together. And these guys really have a heated relationship, and have them, gold medal match on the line against like England or Ireland or, Northern Ireland with like Rory McIlroy or somebody like that. And then one of his teammates, and have them compete for the gold. Oh, that would be drama. I would be turning to golf. Yeah. Oh yeah. I'd be all in favor.
I totally agree with that. And one more thing I want to complain about is like, I touched on it earlier. You see like this kid from Uzbekistan win the gold in Taekwondo. You see the kid from Tunisia win the gold in swimming. Where I just want to see their medal ceremonies. And I feel like growing up, there was a lot more emphasis placed on showing the medal ceremonies versus now unless it's a superstar like Katie Ledecky, you really don't see that much medal ceremonies, and you only see it for like a U.S. athlete. Like I haven't seen a foreign anthem play on any of the Olympic coverage. Have you?
You know what? You're right. Yes, I really haven't. Really, the only anthem I have heard has been the South African national anthem, and that's because they were going to play the U.S. in water polo, and they kind of cut in during that thing. And they kind of cut in during that event. I agree with you. Yeah. Well, I know because of COVID, they can't really have like a big national, like a big medal ceremony or something like that. But I agree with you.
Doing them.
Yeah, they still do them. I agree with you 100%. I'm surprised. Yeah, like they really haven't shown a lot of the ceremony, and they really do do an emphasis. Even in 16, they had an emphasis on that. Like we did see like national anthems of different countries as well, and especially in 2012 too. I'm shocked about that. You're kind of right. Yeah, really, the only time they really show a medal ceremony if it's like a big U.S. superstar. You know, it is kind of bad, and it's just
bad.
Yeah, and it's just
because I mean
I don't like it.
Yeah, they made a big deal about how this one girl from the Philippines wins the gold medal in weightlifting. And like, obviously, like it's the first gold medal in like 100 years of trying for the Philippines. Show me the medal. Show me her getting her medal. Show me her reaction when her national anthem's playing. And I want to hear what the Filipino national anthem sounds like. I want to hear what the Uzbekistani national anthem sounds like.
Yeah, I want the
Taekwondo kid. Yeah, or the Tunisian national anthem. Give me something different. I mean, no offense to Katie Ledecky. I loved seeing her win the race, but I also at the same time, I know what our anthem sounds like, and I've seen Katie Ledecky standing atop the podium hearing our anthem played before. I want to see it for like the people who, no offense, but it matters more to them. Maybe it doesn't matter at all to Katie Ledecky. I'm not saying that. Obviously, it matters a lot to her, but the reaction of someone winning the first gold medal ever for their country versus someone who's won their fourth gold medal individually is going to be a lot better, I think, and a lot better television than the other.
Oh yeah, I agree. Yeah, and just it probably maybe see the tears go down her her face or something like that. Just be like just so happy, you know, hearing the anthem in an arena, and it's just really just showing a lot of like national pride as well. I mean that really was what the Olympics is all about, and I feel like we've. I really do feel like we've taken a step back, I guess, as far as with like this nation's pride, you know, type of thing with the Olympics. Really, it really is kind of like a nationalistic kind of sense as well. Yeah, with the whole really they don't show a national ceremony unless it's an American that has won it as well, and it's just it really is kind of weird. I never really thought about that until now. You really make up a great point.
Yeah, that's a little bit sad for me, and I want to see that. That's.
Well, I mean, you could always YouTube the Tunisian national anthem, if you want to hear it, yeah. But I feel like it's just a lot better, if you kind of if you got to hear it kind of live or at a medal ceremony.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I'm not gonna. I mean, obviously, I can hear the Uzbekistani national anthem, but it's not going to do much for me unless I'm seeing the emotion of that being played for someone when they just won the gold medal.
Right. I definitely don't want to hear the Russian national anthem. I did hear it before at a boxing event, and my God, that is the longest national anthem I have ever heard in my life. Like, it's just, I feel like national anthem should be like probably like 1:15 to like 1:45 to 2 minutes. Like that's what I feel like. The Russian national anthem, I felt like I think it was like 3.5 minutes to like 4 minutes. It felt like 10 minutes. Like that's how long it felt like for me. And I was just like, I remember just sitting there. I'm like, this is a really long national anthem. Like I was just like saying to myself, I'm like, this is a really long national anthem. Like, I don't like this. Like, there should be a time limit on national anthems, really.
Do they have a new anthem, or is it the same anthem that played before the boxing match I saw between Drago and Balboa?
It's a little bit different because it was the USSR compared to like the Russian. Even though we're not going to hear the Russian national anthem since they're the Russian Olympic Committee. And it is weird too, like when they kind of mentioned that, because they mentioned like a couple like USA matchups. It's like, oh yeah, they're coming up against the ROC or something like that. That sounds like a military like team. And it's like, oh yeah, we're playing the military team of ROC or something like that. It really does like. It just feels like really weird, and it's just
also, what's the point of banning them if you're still going to let them compete?
Oh, it's the people that haven't cheat, we're still allowing them.
I don't know, that doesn't make any sense to me.
Will you be shocked if there was like a doping scandal if that came up and like, oh, Russians doped again, they got caught cheating? I'm like, then why'd you put them in the Olympics? Like that makes no sense.
Yeah,
I think that happened in 18 too. I think that happened in 18, like the Winter Olympics. Like some person from Russia got like banned, I think, if memory serves me right.
Wow. Yeah, probably.
Yeah,
It happens. It seems like all the time.
it does. And yeah, I mean, it's a interesting thing. I mean, it just I have seen a lot. I did see a lot of softball though, so it was nice to see softball and baseball kind of make it
Yeah.
back to the Olympics as well.
All
And
those softball games were exciting.
yeah, they were very, very exciting. Yeah, most of the USA matches were very, very exciting, except for the gold medal match. Really, they got kind of stomped on a little bit by Japan. I mean, really, but yeah, but they were very excited, especially that other game in Japan that went extra innings and was like 0-0. Like both
Yeah.
teams were making like great plays, and it was a really exciting thing. I just hated it that it was just so quick though. Like I wish it was kind of spread out like a 2-week thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was the
It felt
only
really
thing
fast.
it felt like really fast. Like I was just like, wait, like we're already at the gold medal game and it's Thursday of the first week. So
Yeah.
that's my only nitpick about that. But other than that, it was a great event. And it was great seeing baseball again in the Olympics and the return of the bullpen cart. They have a little bullpen cart going. So, we're getting that again. So yeah, it's great seeing stuff that have been like returned
It is.
from
I just found a link on NBC's website where I can see all these medal ceremonies. So maybe that's.
Oh yeah, so you got to watch it there. Yeah.
Oh yeah. I'm about to. After we're done recording, I'm going to watch the Fiji that men's rugby team's anthem.
Oh yeah, that was fun. Yeah, and like Fiji won really well, and yeah, it's just hearing the stories with that. Like they really haven't been with like their families in like for a far number of time because of like the COVID stuff going on at Fiji. So it really is fascinating, and I've enjoyed it immensely.
Well, shoot, like I said, they only have like half of the medal ceremonies. They don't have all of them.
They at least have the Philippines and the Tunisia.
No, they don't have the Tunisia. Basically, I'm just gonna have to try and watch the Fiji one, or try to like maybe YouTube. Maybe I can YouTube like the actual national or the medal ceremony.
Yeah, you maybe have to do that as well. And yeah, they've really focused on a lot of sport. I feel like they've kind of really like microcosm and like showed like like some sports rather than showing like a ton of sports. As far as with the other channels and stuff, and I feel like they're really like making a bad use of like all these channels. I'm like, NBC, you have a ton of these channels, and then you're promoting this Peacock thing, and I tried watching it on Peacock, and it's just like really, I mean, it's just like Tokyo Gold or Tokyo Live or something like that. I'm like, no, give me some events, like kind of just show me like just random events or something like that, and just have that, have like a Red Zone style, rather than like interviews and all that, and everybody having games or something like that. Yeah, that should be like a separate channel, but that shouldn't be like your main channel right now. Just show me like events. It's just like okay, just show me like a Red Zone style. Give me Scott Hansen, be like, yeah, we're going now to the aquatic center where we have water polo between Hungary and China.
It's in the fourth quarter or whatever.
It's in the fourth quarter. Yeah, 8-9. Or yeah, let's go over to the event where we're having team handball. Montenegro is going against Norway right now. Montenegro starting out really early.
Yeah,
that's what I want.
Give me like goal right here from the Norwegians.
Give me that. Like that's what I wanted, and they're really kind of lacking that.
All right, now we have so and so dropping in on the skateboard. Check it out.
Oh. I don't know. I feel like it's just one of these Olympics.
That's a great idea. Give me Scott Hansen red zoning the Olympics. That would be fantastic.
I'd be here for like the Winter Olympics. Yeah. I'd be for the Winter Olympics. I'm like,
absolutely.
Yeah, we're going out here. We're gonna have a little cross country skiing here.
All right, but we're gonna cut away from the cross country skiing because so and so just hit a 50-foot ski jump.
Yeah, just broke the world record in ski jumping
in Finland. We're going to him now.
Jurga Klinsmann from Finland.
Right, because I mean, honestly, yeah, because I mean, you watch Red Zone, and I mean, we have Red Zone, and it's fantastic, and I feel like I get the best of everything. That's what I want. It's a great idea. Give me like Olympic Red Zone style.
Yeah, give me that. It's just like just cutting to like different
All right.
sports or
And
something
here's
like
the
that.
medal ceremony for this.
Yeah. But first, we're going to show you the medal ceremony of the Philippine weightlifter we just saw a
Right.
few minutes ago.
Like, I don't need everybody's medal ceremony. Like, I don't need every like Russian person that won medal ceremony, or the Chinese person's every medal ceremony for China.
Right.
But like, especially if it's a significant win for the country, give me that.
Oh yeah,
Give me
me that 100%. That's what
And
I'm
Scott
all for.
Hansen there to bring it in and bring it out.
Exactly.
He's not doing anything for a couple months.
Yeah, he's got to prepare himself for another
He's got a month. He's fine.
Now that we have a 17th week now, I mean, we got to prepare now. I mean, I'm happy though. We get one more week of red zone. If there's any positive to the 17th week on the schedule, we get one more week of red zone, folks. That's going to be great.
And one of my buddies was complaining about the 17th week and saying it was, I don't know if it was necessary. And I'm like, I love it. And especially because the Broncos 17th game is against the Lions. So I'm like, okay, we get an extra game against the Lions that we would have never had otherwise.
I know. Yep. Well, Green Bay and Kansas City have to face against each other. That's great. I'll take that.
Absolutely. I love it.
One more thing, though. You want to talk about Texas and Oklahoma kind of officially joining the SEC.
Ooh.
Like, how do you feel about that? I mean, our buddies from Texas, make it a bold move, basically abandoning the Big 12.
Actually, I need to get back into the Twitter because I just got a new cell phone and I haven't plugged our Twitter account into it yet. But I have a really good Twitter post that's going to come out about this. So.
Okay.
But I mean, at the end of the day, I mean, it's crazy. It's definitely the death of the Big 12 for sure. But as a major conference anyway.
Right. Yeah.
And I hate that it's going to also cost us like the OU OSU rivalry, because that's always been a fun one too. I hate the relocation in general, but
yeah, and it's just I feel like the Big 12, the Big 12 now is going to start to look like the Big 8 again.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it's going to start to look like that. And I mean, what's going to happen now with the Big 12? It used to be such like a very prominent conference. You think about it. If we told somebody this like 12 years ago with all the or 10 years ago with all the like the actual like conference realignment as it actually happening with CU and Utah joining the Pac-12 and and
Missouri in the SEC,
Missouri, the SEC,
West Virginia in the Big 12 for no reason.
Yeah, with all that, we would have told you, oh yeah, Oklahoma and Texas are going to lead the Big 12 in 10 years. I think people would be like, what?
Well, like, I just hate all of it. I hate it because it's like now you have all these conferences that make no sense.
Right.
Like, honestly, like circa like 05, you had all these conferences that made a lot of sense.
Yeah, I think it's just I like the regional aspect. I just feel like we're losing this regional aspect of teams and all that. Like that, I think that's what made the conferences really special. I think back in the day was like everybody was like, oh yeah, you had a region. This was the region. You hated Nebraska, you hated Oklahoma, you hated Oklahoma State, you hated Kansas.
And the rivalries have suffered because of it.
Oh yeah, they have suffered because of it, and it's just it's crazy to think about that. Yeah. And it's just like, I guess the SEC is just going to take over college football. And that's going to be, instead of, Division 1A or Division 1AA, it's going to be just SEC and then FCS or something like that.
Well, the NCAA is probably not going to be around much longer anyways.
Right.
Who knows anyway?
Yeah. Who knows? I guess it's just, they're just going to have that. And it's just like, oh, okay. Yeah, it's just like a bad thing all around. Like I think it's like
terrible.
Yeah, I do think it is terrible, but it's just money, and it's just really. I mean, Oklahoma and Texas, I don't think they're going to be good. They're going to be what like Missouri and Texas A&M are. Like they're going to be like type of things, and then you're going to kind of look back and be like, was it a good decision, really, to join this SEC?
Yeah.
I mean, we'll wait and see. Maybe this will help Oklahoma a little bit. Be like, oh, we've played against these SEC teams now for all these years, because that's usually been like their Achilles heel. Really, is that they played through all this Big 12 schedule, and then they played like an SEC or a Clemson or a Florida State, and they get the crap kicked out of them.
Well, yeah, I mean, it'll definitely give us a better idea of where. It's going to be interesting to see these styles because, I guess it won't be because you're not having the whole Big 12 come over. Because I would have loved to have seen Baylor's just throw the ball as much as possible, score as many points as quick as possible, offense against an SEC defense every week. But you're not even going to get that. You're basically going to get Oklahoma versus Alabama. I'm going to be interested in it, but I'm not going to care because it's not like a rivalry. It's not like Alabama, LSU, or Alabama, Ole Miss, where there's actual hatred there,
Right. It is kind of weird.
And
yeah.
I'll just say this too. It's the reason that Missouri and Texas A&M left the Big 12 was basically because of Texas and them trying to take a larger share of the revenue for their Longhorn network at the time.
Right, and that was the reason why CU kind of left too to the Pac-12.
Absolutely, and CU and Nebraska, the same thing. They all left for the same reason. And it was because, like I said, Texas was trying to – so Texas basically forced all these teams out of the conference. And now they basically have the teams that stayed, and now they're giving those teams the middle finger and saying, okay, now we're leaving. We already revenue screwed you guys out. So see ya.
Yeah, see you guys. I'm out. It is kind of crazy. And I know. I don't. Yeah, I just don't know. We'll have to wait and see. Again, yeah. We'll have to wait and see. We won't see it for another 4 years. But it's just really, we just had 10 years from a really major conference realignment. Now we're going to have another one in 10 years. I guess this is going to happen now every 10 years. We're just going to have a crazy conference realignment.
Wow.
I know. Yeah. Yeah.
I was upset by that too.
Yeah. I can't wait to see the Boise State join the Big East too.
Yeah, Boise State in the Big East.
Yeah, in the Big East. They're going to revive the Big East. Yeah.
Yeah, they might be in the ACC in 2 years.
Yeah.
So the ACC can have 40 teams.
It's just going to be maybe just SEC and ACC or something like that.
Yeah.
That's what it's going to be like.
Wow. That's crazy.
It is. All right.
Awesome. Well, we hope you enjoyed watching this episode. We hope you go back and watch all of our other episodes. Follow us on Twitter at SPBushy. And once again, we appreciate you watching. Hope you have a great week.
All right. Awesome. Thank you. Peace.